The rain from the previous day had finally cleared, leaving the city of New Orleans washed clean, its streets glistening in the soft morning light. The air was fresh, carrying with it the scent of wet earth and blooming flowers, a reminder that even the heaviest of storms eventually gave way to clarity. As I sat by the window, sipping my morning coffee, I found myself lost in thought, reflecting on the journey that had led me to this point in my life, a journey marked by the intensity of my emotions, my Scorpio nature, and the choices I had made in love. Love, for me, had always been a tumultuous affair. From a young age, I had been drawn to the depth and passion that relationships promised, always seeking that connection that would resonate with the intensity that burned within me. But time and again, I found myself disappointed, disillusioned by the reality of love with men who could not meet the demands of my heart. There was always a disconnect, a sense that something was missing, that despite my best efforts, I could never fully align my desires with theirs. The men who had passed through my life were varied, each with their own charm, their own allure. Yet in the end, they all left me feeling unfulfilled, my needs unmet. My Scorpio characteristics, my passion, my need for deep emotional connections, and my fierce loyalty often seemed too much for them, too overwhelming. I had always been the one who loved harder, who gave more, who sought to explore the hidden depths of our connection, only to find that they were content with the surface. It was a pattern that repeated itself over and over, leaving me with a growing sense of frustration and a deepening awareness that something had to change. As I gazed out the window, watching the city come to life in the morning light, I allowed myself to reflect on those past relationships, on the lessons they had taught me. Each man had left a mark, a reminder of what I sought and what I could not compromise on. I had tried to mold myself to fit the expectations of these men, to be what they wanted, but in doing so, I had lost sight of who I truly was. My Scorpio nature demanded more depth, more passion, more honesty. And I had come to realize that these were qualities I could not find in the men I had loved. The realization had not come easily. It had taken years of failed relationships, of heartbreak and disappointment, for me to finally see the truth that had been staring me in the face all along. I was different. My needs were different. And I could no longer pretend that I could find fulfillment in relationships that did not speak to the core of who I was. The connection I craved went beyond the physical, beyond the superficial. It was a connection that could only be found with someone who understood the depths of my emotions, who shared my intensity, and who could meet me where I was, without fear or hesitation. As the truth settled within me, I felt a sense of peace, a clarity that had eluded me for so long. The answer had always been there, hidden beneath the layers of societal expectations and my own fears. I had been searching for love in the wrong places, with the wrong people, and it was only when I allowed myself to acknowledge this truth that I found the courage to embrace it fully. My heart had always known what my mind had been slow to accept. I was meant to love women, to find in them the connection that had eluded me with men. Joey had been the catalyst for this realization, the one who had shown me that the love I sought was not an impossible dream, but a reality that could be found if I was willing to embrace it. With her, I had found the depth, the passion, the emotional connection that I had always craved. She understood me in ways that no man ever had, and with her, I felt seen, understood, and cherished in a way that was new and exhilarating. As the day wore on, the sun climbed higher in the sky, bathing the city in a warm, golden light. The world outside my window was alive with color and movement, a reflection of the vibrancy I now felt within myself. I knew that this was the beginning of a new chapter in my life, one where I could be true to who I was, where I could love without fear or hesitation. The path ahead was uncertain, but for the first time in a long while, I felt ready to walk it, knowing that I was finally living in alignment with my true self. The decision to call Joey was not one I made lightly, but it felt right, necessary even. She had become a part of my life, a presence that brought light and warmth to the darker corners of my soul. I wanted her to know what I had realized, to share with her the truth that had finally come to the surface. As I picked up the phone and dialed her number, I felt a sense of anticipation, a thrill that came from knowing that I was taking a step toward a future that felt honest and real. The conversation was brief, but it was enough to set the wheels in motion. As I hung up the phone, I felt a wave of calm wash over me, a reassurance that I was on the right path. Joey would be coming over later, and I knew that this would be a pivotal moment for both of us, a chance to deepen the connection we had already begun to build, to explore the possibilities of what we could be together. As the afternoon faded into evening, I prepared for her arrival, my mind filled with thoughts of what lay ahead. The apartment was filled with the soft glow of lamplight, the scent of candles filling the air with a warmth that matched the anticipation I felt within. The city outside was settling into the rhythms of the night, but inside, my world was just beginning to come alive, fueled by the passion and intensity that had always defined me. I knew that this was just the beginning of a new journey, one that would be marked by challenges and growth, but also by the deep, abiding love that I had always sought. With Joey by my side, I felt ready to face whatever came next, knowing that I was finally living in alignment with my true self, embracing the love that had always been meant for me. As the clock ticked closer to the time of her arrival, I felt a sense of peace, of certainty that I had not felt in a long time. The truth of who I was, of what I needed, had finally come to the surface, and with it, a new chapter in my life was beginning. The future was still uncertain, but for the first time, I felt ready to face it head-on, with the passion and intensity that had always been my guiding star.